Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, that of the Nerf Herder Council, as well as the Facebook and YouTube pages, channels, whatever you want to call them, of the Virtual Cantina Network. We are also streaming live on the Nerf Herder Council Twitch page. We are live at those locations every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you are looking for some awesome Virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And if you are trying to get yourself hooked up with some kick-ass Nerf Herder Council merch, fully customizable, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. Without further ado, let me bring on my esteemed co-host, my brother AJ. What is going on, man?
I am esteemed. That's fantastic. Good to know.
My computer is not. I am trying to get this damn thing shared to the Virtual Cantina Network page, and it will not load up Facebook. I don't know what the hell is going on. So if you could do that, please, since I always screw that up. I don't know what
you think I know how to do that. Come on now.
Oh, please. Oh my gosh.
I honestly do not. Dude, if you watched anything of that last show that I did, you know that there's a reason why I'm the co-host and you're the main host. I don't do the intro right. I don't set the videos right. I don't know how to share shit to Facebook. Oh yeah, there might be some bad language on here, and the views of the Nerf Herder Council don't necessarily reflect those of the Virtual Cantina Network.
Yes.
First ring for that one.
I can't even believe that this is happening, so I'm going to try and use my phone. So, yeah, this is great. Hi, Sam. Good to see you. Sam Gangadine checking in. Good friend of mine. Kale McLeish, good to see you, man. He says, so Drakes are good? Question. Well played. Yes, Kale. Good for the audio viewers. There we go. Yes. Fist my bump. Yeah, everything is cool. A little stressful over here. We adopted a new dog, and he is a special needs guy, so it's kind of messy around here, but we are trying to get used to that and working through it. So we'll see how it goes. But other than that, I'm good. What is new with you, man? We haven't talked much lately.
Dude, life just gets crazy, you know? I don't know how many people are aware of this, but I am betrothed, and we are moving into a house. So between those two things, been a little busy lately. That's, I was down in Orlando doing the betrothal at a Mammoth concert, which was awesome.
Betrothal.
And now we've been painting bedrooms and figuring out exactly how much money it costs to outfit a house. So yeah, busy times in life. It happens, but it's all good, man. We're here tonight, and you were off having yourself a good time with Mammoth the last time we were scheduled to have a podcast. Were you not?
Yes, I was. That is very true. Yeah, I was in Knoxville, Tennessee. So we stopped in Newport, Kentucky that Monday. So this would have been 2 weeks ago. And we stayed the night there and then finished the drive to Knoxville the next morning. And we had a total blast, man. It was really, really cool. So it was the show obviously was amazing. So that was a lot of fun. And yeah, just had a good time doing some touristy stuff the second day, and just really, really had a good time, man. So a lot of fun. It was good to get out of town. I've never really traveled midweek before. I'm always like, well, I'm going to take my PTO at, for the weekend or something like that. So I get the 2 extra days. But because of the Mammoth show being on Tuesday night, it was like, all right, well, we're going midweek. So we did, and it turned out to be a good time. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, as much as I appreciate a long weekend, it's kind of cool to get away, in the middle of the week sometimes too. So I'm glad you got a chance to do that. That was really cool. And like you said, out of character for you, which is also a good thing. Variety is the spice of life after all.
Right. So, all right. Well, it looks like I dropped an F-bomb on our comment section. So I don't know why this is not working. I swear to God, this is like gonna I messed up the last one, sharing it to the virtual Cantina network, and now it won't even do it. I really hate technology. So, in any case,
We're fantastic.
I know. So Kale says, well, all I can say about your betrothal, AJ, is amaze, amaze, amaze. That's cool.
Here in the chat before, so if she pops in tonight, because the movie that we're about to talk about here, I did go and see it with her. So if she pipes in, then I will name drop. Otherwise, I assume that is private, because she's a very private person. She doesn't really get on social media that much. So
Nice.
I like to troll her at least a little bit. But yeah, much like the Artemis rocket, we're online now. We're a little bit late, but better late than never, and better than ever. So I've been on such a rabbit hole with like space stuff ever since going to see this movie, dude. It's crazy. Like, it's kind of cool to actually have a space thing going on in a space movie. Like, I swear that the timing, I don't know if they like timed the release of this movie for when the Artemis rocket was going to launch, just because they knew that everybody would be into space stuff like at this time, but it's so perfect, right? It's like free marketing for the movie. It's like, hey, there's a rocket going up to the moon. Oh, look, there's a movie about space travel.
Yeah. It was. That's a good question. I wonder if they did schedule this. Like, hey, let's get some free promo out of this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that'd be kind of pretty smart, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you went to the theater to see this. Thank you for that, because I definitely wanted to talk about this. Yeah, I saw this opening weekend a couple weeks ago, but I actually have read the book once and gotten through the audiobook once. So technically I've gotten through the book itself twice.
Nice. Okay.
It was kind of interesting how I was introduced to this, because a couple months ago, the drummer in the band that I sing for, he hit me up and he says, hey, I'm reading this awesome book, and you're my only nerd friend I know who actually reads books. So I figured I would tell you about it, and that way we can actually talk about it at some point. So by the way, I got it shared to the VCN finally. So, and I was like, okay, so I said, okay, cool. I'll read the book. I'm looking for something to read. I bought an e-reader at Christmas, and I've been just voraciously reading ever since. So I'm loving that. And I got to tell you,
that's a big word.
Hey, look, we may swear, but we may also increase people's vocabulary. So there you go. But yeah, and it sucked me in like right away. I was, by the way, there will be spoilers in this episode. So if you are not familiar with the movie, haven't seen it, so there are going to be spoilers. So,
we are so bad at announcing that. We really got to improve there.
I know.
Oh well.
I'm just used to like shooting off of the mouth and talking. So it's like I always forget. But yeah, so I was not aware of what I considered to be a pretty reasonable sized plot twist, that being Rocky. So we'll get to that later, and that just, completely sucked me in. I was like, wait, there's an alien in this book? What the hell? And it was written really interestingly, because all the science is spelled out in scientific terms. So you're like, what the hell? But then he'll be like, yeah, it was, it's 1.48 million kilojoules of energy at 2.2 nanoseconds per. And he goes, basically what that means is, so they give the actual terminology, and then he kind of like dumbs it down immediately after. So you kind of get used to that delivery, which is really cool.
Did you read The Martian previous to this?
I actually have not. So
it's very much the same way, where there's a whole bunch of detailed science going on, and then Mark Watney, the narrator, the character, is like, yeah, so basically I've just got to find a way to farm a bunch of potatoes with no dirt. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna buy that one next, because everyone has said that the books are pretty equivalent. I think Project Hail Mary is a little more highly regarded. I don't know that for sure. I think I've seen that online, but don't quote me on that. But yeah. So I mean, it is written like that, which is cool. And again, the plot twist with Rocky and we'll get to that whole thing. But I really, really enjoyed that. And there's like, just like there is in the movie, it really kind of it makes the story so human in the face of something that's pretty much just like a science lesson. And even though it is, hey, Earth is gonna die, like they made it really personal as well. So I thought that was really cool. So before we get rolling, I know you had something you wanted to get off your chest. You were pretty pissy about movie ticket prices the other day, man. Like,
Yeah. Okay. So overall, this is going to be a very positive show because, like everybody else on the internet, we kind of love this movie. And in your case, because I have not read the book, you love the book as well. So let's just get the negativity out of the way. When looking for theaters to go see this movie, the closest theaters geographically ended up being Regal Cinemas, and then farther away was AMC. So no Cinemark in sight, which is the one that I actually pay for their movie club, which is a really good deal actually overall. I mean, I'm not plugging for them, but you do basically get you get the price of a movie ticket. You pay the price of a movie ticket every month, and you just stockpile movie tickets, and you don't get any like convenience fees and all that other garbage, and you get discounts on concessions and stuff. So it does pay for itself pretty easily. Like every time we go to a movie, which is every like 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
I'm always the one buying the tickets because there's a Cinemark between all of us in the family. So I buy the tickets, which means there's no fees attached. And I've already got like a stockpile of 4 or 5 free tickets anyway. So I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got it. It works out pretty well.
Yep.
Now, looking at Regal, which uses Fandango for their ticketing online.
Yes.
They wanted $17.49 per ticket to go see this thing. And then I was like, all right, that's ridiculous. So I'll go over to AMC and see what that's like, because I've got the free tier of AMC stubs, which basically gets you nothing now, apparently. Because they wanted $14.99 a ticket and $2.25 per ticket for convenience fee. So it was $17.24 a ticket. Wow. These ticket prices are asinine. I love going to the movies. I'm not one of those people that will sit my ass at home and wait for it to be free on streaming. I love going to the theater to watch a movie. But when you are asking for 3 people to go drop almost $54 just to get in to see the movie, here's why we have the profanity disclaimer. Fuck you. That is ridiculous, man. We all have our price limits on things. I will pay for something if it's worth it. I'm not a cheapskate like that, but I feel like $17.50 a movie ticket. This is why people are opting to wait for streaming. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. I mean, I hate to say this, but
has it been this bad for a while? Because Cinemark was like $12.50 for the longest time. I didn't even look what the prices were because there wasn't one close for this particular movie. But
no, it's
still around $12.50 because that feels like a reasonable price.
No, that's a matinee price.
They're up too.
Yeah, evening prices are, like you said, like 17, 16, something like that. Like it is. I mean, I've actually been to the theater a few times recently, and yeah, it's pretty. It's not great. I mean, we got tickets to go see in a few weeks. There's an Iron Maiden documentary that's being played in theaters for one night, actually a couple nights, but in any case, yeah, me and Hendrickson and Aiken are going, and it was near 50. It was like a little over $50. I think
for a documentary they charge full movie ticket price.
Oh yeah.
Wow, dude, with all the trouble that movie theaters are having getting people to show up, maybe that's part of the problem.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, think about it. Like, I mean, I was gonna say, ever since the pandemic, but I mean that people are saying they're not going out as much, and so when the prices are kind of getting up there, I mean, especially, Kale, he says no. For Iron friggin' Maiden, they charge full movie price. There we go. We stand corrected. Yeah, I mean, and once you factor in, the tickets, and then concessions and whatnot, I mean, if you're really going to go whole hog and do popcorn pop, for 2 people and candy and stuff, you're looking at easily $100. And that says nothing for, if you like, it's a 3D movie. Like, I love anything that's 3D. I want to see it in that format. So you jack that cost up to well over $20. It's like 22. I know, like, the DX seating that we have at the Cinemark in Canton, just about 25 minutes from us. Like, that's the seat that moves and rumbles with the movie and all that kind of stuff. That's extra money. Man, I down in Knoxville, they had a theater, and I wanted to do this so bad, but my wife was like, we're not going to the movies when we're on vacation, even though she loves the movie. But they have what's called 4DX, and it's the DX seating. It's in 3D, but it also has like the atmosphere stuff, like wind and all that kind of stuff coming at you and whatnot. And those tickets, I want to say, were like $27, $28.
Okay, I can see that being kind of an experience, though. So if you want to jack up the price for a fancy movie ticket, let's call it, then okay, fine. You're getting a little extra something. But just to walk into the movie theater and be expected to shell out over $17 per ticket, and mind you, this is Ohio prices. We're cheap.
Yeah.
Whatever it's costing in like California is probably like $24 or something at this point.
God,
it's ridiculous.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Fortunately, I did find that there is, I'll call it an independent. They apparently are a chain, but there's a chain of movie theaters called Phoenix. It's it's at Great Northern Mall. So we found that, and they're only charging $10 per ticket. Much better.
Yeah, that's a lot better, man.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
Okay.
But
I haven't been there yet, but I've heard that's a really, really nice theater.
Yeah, the weird thing is the seats are too tall. Like, your feet cannot touch the floor when you're in them. You feel like a 3-year-old just like swinging your feet freely.
That's funny.
Nothing touches the ground. But yeah, $10 a ticket, much more palatable. As much as I love this movie, it is really hard to ask people to take a gamble on a movie. Like, hope you like it. Give us $17.50 to find out if you feel like your money was well spent. That is a real tall ask, man. That is a real tall ask.
Yeah, that's like I said, as you and I have talked about on the show many times, I love the theater experience, so I'm just going to pay it. But I understand if people are getting a little bit of sticker shock. So it is what it is. But I will say this.
It's happening all over, and it will correct itself. Even something as dumb as WWE is mentioning on broadcasts in promos from wrestlers saying that the ticket prices need to be cheaper. So it's just the market. They're testing whatever people will pay is what they'll charge, and I think they've finally hit the ceiling. So prices are going to come back down. Hopefully, movie theaters learn the same lesson.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, we'll get to the movie here in just a quick second, but yeah, I mean, it's concert tickets are the same way. I mean, Sammy Hagar is coming to Cleveland in 2 months, and if you want to get down close to the stage, like in the pavilion, if you want to get like good seats in like the first second, I mean, you're talking about a $450 ticket, man. I mean, it's unbelievable,
absurd.
Yeah, thankfully, like, I'm the guy that will do that, like. For my favorite bands, now that I've got, at least a teeny bit of disposable income to be able to afford a nicer seat, I will do it. But thankfully, I've finally done it enough with my favorite bands that I don't have to do it anymore. So, like, I paid, I paid the $1,200 for the second row Sammy Hagar tickets with the VIP parking and all that crap. I did that. I've done the VIP Dream Theater, and but even actually, I do have to say, Dream Theater, those tickets are not expensive. Like, for like a first 3-row ticket, it's like $120, which to me, at certain shows, some are more expensive, but that's really not bad to be like, 20 feet from musicians playing like that. But for the average person, they hate it. But I mean, yeah, everything's like that, man. Everything costs. So, I guess that's just the world we're living in. So
yeah,
it is what it is.
It's a bummer, but like you said, it is true. Hey, at least this movie was worth the money, though. There you go. You guys can all tune out now. There's my synopsis. It was worth $17.50.
Yep. All right. On that note, we'll close up shop.
Cool.
See ya. Yeah. So digging into the movie here. So, I will say, because this is a big deal for me, as I've mentioned on the show many times, I thought this was a very good adaptation of the book. as I've said on previous shows talking about movie adaptations of novels, a lot of them can be pieces of shit, and this one was not. It's a little different, and we'll talk about that. They added 2 things to the movie that were not in the book, but I didn't think that they took anything away from the story. And I understand why they add, especially one of them. I understand why they added it, and the other one, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think it's just like eye candy. So, should I mention those now, or do you want to do those later?
Yeah, I am curious because I have not read the book, so I don't know what they changed actually. If you want to just like call those out real quick so I can know, what was the difference in the story? Did it have a big impact on the story? Is the first question I have.
0.
Okay.
0. Yeah, okay. So Kale wants to know. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should do it now, Kale, or later after we've discussed the plot and all that kind of stuff. But so in the book, Ryland Grace actually goes into Rocky's ship. Or excuse me, in the movie, Ryland Grace actually gets to see the inside of Rocky's ship. That does not happen in the book. They're like, the atmosphere would kill him. It can't happen. So he wanted to, and they didn't. Rocky's like, yeah, you can't do it. So that was big, but again, it doesn't really affect anything. And I totally understand why they would do it, because you kind of want to be like, oh, I want to see the alien spaceship. And of course, he would be interested in seeing it, so that's something you show. Okay, that's fine. The other thing was that room, I guess you would call it, that like shows Earth scenes, like he'd be on the beach or something, or he'd be in the forest or whatever, like to kind of keep his sanity, so that he, wasn't just cooped up in a spaceship the whole time. And that was not in the book either. So again, as I said a minute ago, I think that one's more for like eye candy. Since it is a movie, it's kind of like, hey, let's show some stuff and make it look cooler and whatever. And I mean, it makes sense, but again, that was not in the book.
And there were some cool moments in there too. I get why my theory about why they did that is just because it did provide a nice setting for like, Grace could show Rocky, like, this is what Earth is like. Check this out. This is what our beaches are like and everything else.
Yeah.
And it does kind of set up the end of the movie. If they have to build this guy a habitat, how do they know what to build? Oh, yeah. Well, he already saw it. So
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they did well with it. There's the opening scene, they switched something around. So guys, basically here's the plot. So, since we're going to talk about it and then move on, but so the sun is dying, and they find out it's because of this like microscopic alien life forms called astrophage. And so this guy is tasked with going and finding out how to kill astrophage so that it doesn't kill the sun. So that's the whole crux of the movie. And he actually goes to Tau Ceti, and he's kind of working on it there. So it ends up being like a suicide mission.
Well, one critical detail though, why did he go to Tau Ceti?
Well, why don't you tell me? I just did.
Because it was the one star that wasn't dying.
Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood the question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kale says, so the Hollow Room doesn't exist in the book. No, it does not. That is not in there. So yeah, Tau Ceti is the one star that's not dying. So all the different stars in our galaxy and whatnot are slowly having their energy drained by this astrophage, but Tau Ceti's not. So the entire world, all the governments and countries come together to make this spaceship and mission to go find out why it's, Tau Ceti is not affected by this, and how they can apply that to Earth and save the sun and all that stuff, so it saves us. So yeah, in the novel, like when the movie opens and he basically finds a crap load of vodka and just gets hammered off his ass.
Mm-hmm.
I can that's a change from the book, but I can understand why they did it, because it's like he's basically freaking out. So he just gets really drunk as like a coping mechanism type of thing.
Very believable.
Yeah. But in the novel, he doesn't get hammered on the vodka until he and Rocky actually discover the predator and how to breed the predator for Astrophage to like kill Astrophage. So he's like, "Hey, we did it. We're gonna save the planets." So yay! So he parties and whatnot. And by the way, Kale, the reason the Holo Room doesn't exist in the book, I think, is because in the movie they didn't show that Rocky figured out a way to see. They don't really talk about that in the movie, but Rocky can't see. He's what the species is called an iridian, and they use like sonar basically. So it's like sound. They don't have eyes. They don't see anything. So what Rocky ends up doing in the book is he finds a way to be able to see what Grace is seeing on his computer screens. So it makes like kind of like a tactile model of it so that when the sound bounces around, Rocky can then see what's on the screen. So, yeah.
But they really glossed over that quickly in the movie.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like they did an awesome job translating the book to the movie. It felt rushed to me, but I think that's just going to be me from here on out. Anytime I see a movie made about a book, it's going to feel rushed because I know what happens. So I'm not going to hold that against it. But yeah, there were certain scientific things that were really cool that they did not put into the movie. So I think some of the stuff that they took out was just for the sake of, hey, let's make it, a little more action packed. And it's still kind of a long movie, but I thought it went really fast for over 2.5 hours. I thought it flew by really quickly. So
yeah, I noticed every time there was like a scientific hurdle, they didn't really dwell too long on I'm really stuck on this. What the hell are we gonna do? It was more like 2 minutes, and then we're like, yeah, we figured it out. All good. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. And in the book, it's like it's a whole ordeal, and I was glad that they showed how they kind of learn to communicate, because that's definitely a major part of the book, like how he learns Rocky's language and he sets up a laptop and everything. And it's basically like their language, like a series of notes kind of a thing. So I thought it was really cool, man. The main difference to me, and this was kind of a bummer, but it doesn't kill it for me. But in the movie, Rocky is kind of like he's like a sidekick. He's kind of like, Grace does everything and Rocky's just kind of there. In the book, Rocky is very much an equal. So there's a lot of interplay there. So the relationship is more kind of like, their peers in the novel, whereas in the movie it's kind of like Rocky's like his little pet in a way.
Yeah, if I had a criticism of the dynamic, it was that I'm like, okay, this species is technologically advanced enough to have sent this craft out to do this research, and yet I get why for a movie-going audience it's really hard to relate to the animated rock. So we're going to have the human do all the stuff, but it did seem a little bit weird that you're like, okay, this alien species is this technologically advanced and even possesses empathy as well. So it has the same like emotional capacity of a human being, and yet it's just going to be like, hey, Grace, did you fix it? Hey, Grace, did you fix it? Hey, Grace, did you fix it? Like, and except for building little like, geodesic domes and stuff, I don't really know what Rocky did to actually solve this thing, except for, saving Grace's life at that one point.
Yeah. So and like I said, there's so many cool things that they talk about in the book that they just couldn't really throw in there. But, Rocky's ship is way bigger than the Hail Mary. And the reason is because it was a crew of, I want to say 23 Iridians, and all of them died except for Rocky. And they figure out that it's because the Iridians have never been outside of their own atmosphere. And because of like the gaseous nature of their environment, they were never exposed to radiation. So when they got out of their atmosphere, the radiation killed them. And the reason that Rocky was the sole survivor was because he's the engineer, and he was backed by the engines, which are powered by Astrophage the same way. that the Hail Mary is powered by astrophage.
Mm-hmm.
And so the astrophage basically shielded Rocky from the radiation. So that's how he survived.
Yeah, they didn't really cover that in the movie. They just glossed right over that. And that was, that if I had any questions, especially I do plan to go see it again, that would be one that would come up as like, okay, you kind of glossed over that. Like, how did this all, like, hell, we never got an explanation. There's rumors that Andy Weir might write a follow-up book, call it a prequel or whatever, side story, explaining what happened to the 2 astronauts that were on board the Hail Mary. Because I don't know if they covered that in the book, but in the movie, they were just like, yeah, oh man, the actual astronauts are dead.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
That's
Sucks. Hope you can fly a ship.
Well, and that's part of the story in there, but Kale says, because that really felt like Rocky squeaks, and then he's talking about how they learn the language. He says, because that felt like Rocky squeaks, and then I assign a word to it. It really seemed like Rocky could have been saying, how would you like it if I called you meaty? I'll pincer your eyes out. So, honestly, in the book, it really, he just wakes up and he finds the other 2 astronauts are dead. And he's trying to get his memory back. So that's one of the things that they really glossed over in the movie to kind of get to the point. Was a lot of the beginning part of the book is him trying to remember what the fuck he's doing there, because he has no clue. And they explain it really, really cool. So basically what ended up happening was it took like 4 years to get to Tau Ceti for the Hail Mary. And so they had to put the astronauts in a coma. Well, they had to find, they tested for genes where people are coma resistant. And so there was only it was some ungodly small percentage of people. And the astronauts on the Hail Mary were that. And so apparently they died in transit. So that's, that's what happened. But yeah, in the book, they talk a little bit more about that. And they also say that, we know that Grace kind of gets roped in as like a, hey, you're going on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of that, because it turned out that he was coma resistant. So while he was figuring out all the problems and thinking everybody else was going to go, they were testing him to see if he could be like a backup. So that's, the whole coma resistant thing was a big deal. So, but yeah, so in the novel, and again, I would really highly recommend people read it, because if you like the movie, I think you'll love the book. I think the story is a little better in the book. And that's saying something, because I thought the movie was great. But yeah, so basically when he wakes up, in order to get to the different compartments of the ship won't let him until he answers questions. Like, what's 2 + 2? And
so he had to prove that he wasn't, completely brain dead before they would let him into vital areas?
Yeah. And so to get into like the main area, they're like, what is your name? And he couldn't remember his own name. And in the book, it's kind of cool, because they say that to put him in the coma, they inject them with this stuff that'll actually put them in this long-term coma. But one of the side effects is you wake up, it basically creates like a temporary major amnesia. So when he wakes up from his coma, he doesn't know anything. So he'll like figure out how to do something. He goes, how do I know how to do this? And then they do the flashback of like how he learned to do it or whatever. So it's really intelligent.
Okay.
So it's really, really intelligently written that way. But yeah, again, the relationship between Grace and Rocky is much more fleshed out, and it's a lot more personal, which I think is saying something, because I thought it felt pretty personal in the movie. I don't know, how did you feel about that? Like, did that relationship come across to you as like, because I've basically heard it's like The Martian mixed with E.T., and E.T. obviously hits you in all the feels. So
yeah, look, I give them all the credit in the world. They had to find a way to get the audience to empathize with a rock. And
yeah,
I think they were actually pretty effective at that. It's weird to say that, like, the lack, I think the thing they had going on very strongly for them is like it's like why we empathize with like droids in Star Wars, or I'm thinking even like basically any non-human character in a movie like this where batteries not included is another one where like we're rooting for the robots, right? Like
Yeah.
they're just robots, who cares? But
Yeah.
we cheer for them anyway, that kind of thing. And Johnny Five and Short Circuit and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. You really have to like find a personality trait or something that the audience can latch onto. And I think Rocky was cool because there was a little bit of, the question was, all right, everybody except him is dead, so he's alone too. So we already feel bad for the guy, but then also like they gave him enough personality that made him likable. So even through the laptop and what like testing out the voices was hilarious. Like I love Wally. Yeah, Cal McLeish says exactly same thing. Where you really have to like craft a personality for these non-human characters because they don't have human traits. But in a lot of ways, like the droids in Star Wars, they feel more human because of it. Like their traits become the character. And Rocky was just like good natured and clearly just as screwed as Grace was, and still going about his business anyway. So it was like from the moment where I think once it got me hooked was when he didn't understand, and he was scared for Grace because they don't sleep alone. Someone always watches them when they sleep, which is its own side story of a question, I guess. Like, what are they so afraid of? But
I have an answer when you're done.
But from that moment, I was like, okay, clearly this is I care about Rocky because Rocky cares about Grace.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. The other movie that I kind of think of, this is the movie I actually thought of the most, was District 9. Because I remember watching that movie and like those aliens are so damn ugly, but by the end you're like, man, the hell with humans. Like you're rooting for this alien and you feel bad for it. And so that's what it kind of reminded me of.
Oh, my friend, I didn't know you'd seen that movie. Great. We have a new podcast topic then.
Do you not like it?
No, I love that movie. I just didn't know you'd seen it.
Yeah, no, I saw it several years ago and I can't get Steph to watch it with me. And I would totally rewatch that movie. I love it.
Yeah, Neil Blomkamp. He does good stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so the sleeping alone thing, again, something they explain in the book. Basically, when Iridians sleep, they basically are completely unconscious and completely prone. So they always have another Iridian watching over them so that they don't like die or get attacked or something like that. So it's like a protection thing.
Well, yeah, that's my question is like, what are they trying to protect from? Like, what is the threat when they're asleep?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're comatose and you can't defend yourself. What do you need to defend yourself from?
Well, they don't specify that in the book, but they do at least give a reason for it.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying is like, that's the side story. It's not relevant to this one. So I'm glad they didn't divert to that. But if they did want to, and I really hope they don't tell more stories, like this is a good, like, this is our story and it's done. We don't need to make a franchise out of this, right?
No, 100% agree. Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my questions was like, what is so dangerous about their planet that they need like constant vigilance? That someone's got to like, stand guard while they sleep. It's like, okay, whatever. It's not relevant to this story. The other thing that I thought was really interesting, because you keep contrasting the book to the movie, is I'm glad that I haven't heard anybody giving the movie any crap for deviating from the book. This is a case of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where Douglas Adams was very much involved in the writing of the movie. So if you don't like the movie, too bad, the author wrote it. So same thing. Andy Weir was an executive producer on this. He was in charge of all the decisions that went into whatever changed from the book to the movie. And he's done interviews and he's like, yeah, I'm on board with all of it. Like, I can write a book. I can't put images to my words. So I'm glad that other people who do that for a living chose to take my story and make it better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know me, man, and where I stand with, novel adaptations. If the book was if it deviated a lot from the book, that would have been my first thing. I'd be like, screw this goddamn thing. Like, it absolutely doesn't follow the, so, but that's not the case. And the changes that they made I can understand why they did them, and they weren't too far off of the book. The only thing, Kale, is wait, you're saying he couldn't do images and words? Nice Dream Theater reference there. Yeah, I think the only one that was weird, and I was going to ask you this question. So when all hell breaks loose over the planet where they're trying to get, like the samples and stuff like that, and Grace gets pinned up against, the wall of the ship and everything like that, and he's like basically dying. And Rocky comes in to, to save him. What do you think happened there?
I mean, like what knocked him out?
Well, no, because when Grace comes to, you see like the drag marks of like where Rocky had gone back into his environment. So what do you think that sequence, what happened there? Because they don't talk about it. And what I got out of it was very different from what I think happened in the movie. So how do you think that whole thing transpired?
That's a really good question. I was trying to think of that because the way they depicted it in the movie was, I mean, we already knew that the atmospheres were incompatible, but my understanding was that Rocky's environment is so much hotter that it's like insta-kill for humans. It's like stepping into a fully lit oven.
And it's all ammonia.
Yeah. Yeah. So for Rocky to have, like, it looked like he was burning away. Like it was like charred black smoke when he was exposed to our atmosphere. I'm like, what is so toxic to him? I could see him being like frozen solid. Like if you're used to being that hot, then there's no way you could survive those cold temperatures. But I'm glad they didn't show it, honestly. One, it added to the drama, and two, I'm kind of struggling for an explanation myself because up to that point, I wasn't really clear on if there was any way for them to pass objects to each other, like without the benefit of an airlock and some sort of an atmosphere system that would like switch from Earth atmosphere to
Iridian.
What's their planet called? I forget. Yeah, Iridian atmosphere.
They do exactly that in the book. That is what Rocky creates.
Okay, see, that would have been helpful in the movie then, because I'm not really sure how because I thought he was a goner. I thought he was absolutely dead because they had expressed that the atmospheres are incompatible. As soon as he broke out of his little, ball, I was like, well, he's dead. He can't, unless he can like get back into the ball and like fix it, but he's still got a bunch of toxic atmosphere. Like he doesn't have his own atmosphere in there anymore. So I think he's just dead.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the one thing I think they did kind of poorly. Because in the novel, when Grace comes to, he sees Rocky laying there. He's like, oh, my God. And so Grace finds a way to drag Rocky over to the airlock and figures out a way to get him into his own environment. So the dragging thing in the movie where it doesn't really say what happened, in the book, Grace in turn saves Rocky. So it's kind of like Rocky saved him by coming into his atmosphere. So then Grace is like, well, I got to save him. And one of the interesting things that happens is he almost kills him again. So like you said, like the black smoke and everything like that, that's kind of like what, that's his like body, like burning is what it is. And in the book, he's talking about, he sees like all this, like he's looking in his carapace and everything. And he's like, oh my God, there's all this like black soot and crap and everything. Like, I bet that's killing him. I gotta, get that out of there. So he fashions up basically this like air blaster, and he figures out how to
off Lego. Yeah,
exactly. It's like compressed air. And so he goes and he does that to Rocky. It cleans him off. He's like, okay, cool. I saved him. Well, Rocky eventually, wakes up, and he ends up basically telling him that stuff that he blew off of him almost killed him, because that was actually like a scab, and that's how their bodies heal, is that stuff. So what Grace was doing was basically ripping the scab off and keeping the wound open. But thankfully Rocky had healed enough to where he could, kind of make it through. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I kind of wish they would have shown the fact that Grace had to work out saving Rocky, because I thought it was really cool in the book how it's like, okay, well, because you're like, okay, Rocky saved him, he wakes up and he's dead. Grace wakes up and he thinks Rocky's dead. And I mean, it's really emotional. You're like, they can't kill Rocky. What the hell? And then so Grace does all this stuff, and he has to drag him because Rocky, I think they say, like, due to the difference in atmospheres, weighs, I think, over like 300 pounds or something. So he's like super heavy. So Grace can't carry him.
There's something else I was wondering about. Yeah, looking at it in the movie, like, he's not very large, but are we led to believe he's basically made of rock?
That's basically what they kind of say in the book. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so we've played in creeks when we were a kid. I mixed up my plurals there. When we were kids, we were multiple beings, not one. But anyway, yeah, like rocks are fucking dense and they're fucking heavy. So anything the size of Rocky probably would be a few hundred pounds. Like,
yeah. And
it's that problem of like, oh my God, like if there was a 300-pound human that was completely like comatose on the ground, could I drag them? Ooh, maybe. Talk about dead weight. Just ugh.
Yeah, he had to fashion something. Like, he had to create something to carry him in, to drag him in, really. It was almost like a tote bag in a way. And he had to basically sling it over his shoulders, and kind of like a cart horse almost, So yeah, I just thought that was something they should have shown, because I think reciprocating, the whole saving each other's lives thing was a really cool thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing that Grace is a bit of a believer overall, because even in the movie, it seemed like they spent a lot of time with Rocky being out of the picture, let's say.
Yeah.
So how do you tell if a living rock is still a living rock or just a dead rock? Like, right. In my mind, like, I was totally engrossed in the story, so I didn't check out this hard, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, like, is he going to jettison this guy?
Like, I'm just picturing that, like, out here.
Yeah, like, oh man, he's just taking up space. He's clearly dead. He's been out for weeks. Let's just get rid of him.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's a twitch right before he freezes solid in the vacuum of space. Like, that's the tragedy of the whole story, is that, Rocky's not dead, but Grace doesn't know it. I don't want to go on the cart.
I was waiting for it. I was going to let you do it first. Nice. So our good buddy Joseph French.
That's why they call it Stone Dead.
He'll be stone dead in a moment. So Joseph French checking in. He says, books become movies and TV. Things will change when you take away the audience's permission to use their imagination to fill in the gaps, pictures, words, voices, etc. Not every book gets a Kevin Conroy to be the voice of Batman in our heads forever. Everyone needs to keep giving movies a chance. We condense days of reading into 2 hours. Give us a break. Yeah, no, yeah. And I completely understand, Joe. I just think that my problem is that so many of them do such a shit job. And I think when you read a novel, anybody who's a big reader I'm sure would agree. There are certain major points that you remember and you feel are kind of like pivotal to the story. And there's like a overall vibe and an atmosphere and to use the word again, tonality to it. And I think when movies change those major plot points that you remember, or completely change how it feels, I think that's a massive fail. I mean, a perfect example, we've mentioned it on the show a couple times, was the Pet Sematary remake, the new one, not the one from like 1990, because that one was really good. But the new one, they kill the daughter instead of the little son. It's like they completely change which of the kids dies. Like, why are you doing that? That is really unbelievably stupid. So that's why I think so many of these, adaptations kind of miss the mark. But I think that this one really doesn't, because the stuff that's not there is a lot of the technical stuff, which does give it more flavor and texture and everything story-wise. But in a movie, you don't have to sit there. It would be so much exposition. It would just be so much exposition that, like,
Mhm.
I mean, you don't need it. It would really drag everything down. So
I think that's one of the real triumphs of this movie, actually. Like you said, the book it would be like a 10-hour movie. There was a comment about making it a miniseries, for example, but like one of the things you can get away with in a book is you can get away with a lot of like inner monologue, supporting details, like all the pseudoscience and all that kind of stuff going on. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to have Ryan Gosling just narrate a bunch of science at the audience for a while?
yeah.
Like it doesn't really translate to the other mediums. So I think the best thing about this movie is that it keeps the heart of the book intact, but it adapts it enough that it makes a compelling film instead of just a, hey, we read the book and loved it, so we put everything in the book on screen for you. You know, it does have to, adapt to the medium. And I think it did a great job of keeping, like you said, that heart and soul while stripping out what wasn't necessary. It's like one of the classic examples I remember is like Jurassic Park, for example, where there was an entire scene of them going down the jungle river because there's an aviary and they get attacked by pterodactyls or pterodons or whatever. It didn't add anything. It wasn't missing from the movie. Like, no one was like, boy, that movie would have been great if they had just been attacked by some flying dinosaurs. Like,
Yeah.
It added to the peril. I want to go in and face the peril. That's all.
God damn it, beat me to it.
I'm stuck on the Monty Python. But yeah, like it heightened the stakes in the book, but the stakes were already high because we had everything in front of our eyeballs in the movie. So the fact that it wasn't used and actually was repurposed in sequels, I forget if that was the second one or the third one they used that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just
the
cut content from the first book and they're like, yeah, put it there instead. Works out great. Like, it wasn't missing. It didn't hurt the movie by cutting it out. And I think that's the best thing you can do with a book when you translate it to a movie is what can you cut without actually killing the vibe of the story?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that pseudoscience and the facts and details that really suck the reader in would have turned the viewer off.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. As I said, I think, really, to me, like, the only two things that I would have done differently is, again, I would have shown Grace saving Rocky, and I also would have changed up the relationship between Rocky and Grace in the movie because, again, it is different a little bit. Rocky's more like a pet, a smart pet in the movie, whereas in the book, it's definitely like he figures some stuff out that Grace can't figure out, and vice versa. They're definitely on an even playing field. So I wish it would have been more like that. But because I honestly, I can't really say because I read the book beforehand, but I wonder if I would have been more affected by Rocky's quote unquote death. If you see, I don't know. I don't know if he was more like a pet in the book, would I have been more or less affected by that? I can't say because I've seen them both, so it's like, that's kind of hard. So, yeah,
there were tears in the theater. Not mine, of course. I'm a man. I don't do that. But there were some tears shed in the theater at Rocky's supposed death.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Very near to mine.
Nice. Yeah, I know when I went with my drummer and with my wife, and when that happened, she immediately leaned over. She goes, "They can't really kill him, can they? They can't. No, they can't just kill him."
I thought they had. They hooked me.
I will say,
I was like, how can the stakes get any higher? Oh yeah, kill the one thing that he has to connect to in the void of space, while all of humanity and the galaxy hangs in the balance.
Yeah. Well, and I thought they did a great job of holding. It's like what we wanted the Rise of Skywalker to do with Chewbacca. You think Chewbacca's dead, but then like 37 seconds later, he's back.
Yeah, man, linger on it long enough to actually make people wonder. Yeah,
and they. I mean, I thought they even lingered on it. Like, I mean, yeah. Kale says it. Yeah, Mom and I were misty-eyed. Yeah. I mean, it's emotional, and hell, I've seen some people say, well, they could have shortened that a little bit. I'm like, I don't think so, because I think you can kind of get sucked back in when he finally, comes back to life. At that point, like, because Grace is basically just talking to what he thinks is his corpse, and it's, you can tell how heartbroken he is about the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, Rocky starts coming back around, like, oh my God, yes, like, amaze. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, Kale says it lingered, but it was just enough to be like, oh, thank God. Yeah. And by the way, Joseph Friend, I have to address this. We were talking about, adaptations, from novels being good or bad and leaving stuff out. He says, you're right, JT. Forget everything you know about Goblet of Fire. Now go watch the movie. There are giant holes in the missing details. See.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
That's why I was going to bring it up, because I know we're doing that series. So,
well, I agree with that. However, I still think it's a good movie. I'd read the book before I saw the movie. That's how I went through the series. I think it still does a good job, even though, yeah, there's like some major stuff they cut out, but they almost had to, because that book is huge, man. Like, that is a very hefty book. So there was definitely some stuff they had to kind of, leave out. But in any case, so
yeah, we will cover that, because we do have another episode of the Harry Potter series planned very soon. So we are working our way up to that. What are we on next? Order of the Phoenix, I believe.
Order of the Phoenix, correct. Yep.
Yeah.
I should read that next. Refresh myself on the book. So going into the movie, I mean, did you have any interest in seeing this movie when it came out, or did you literally was this like, okay, we're doing it for the show, so I guess I should go see it?
No. One, they did a good job of hyping it up. I thought the trailer was effective. And as soon as I saw it was written by Andy Weir, and knowing how much I love The Martian, both the book and the movie, yeah, I was hooked. I was like, okay, go. I mean, that guy does something, I'll go watch it. Real simple.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't take much to sell me on it. I'm like, I thought if it had the same sauce as The Martian, like if it was science-y enough to sound plausible, then I would be all about it. I was actually surprised, though, how much this story leaned on the relationship between Grace and Rocky. I thought that it was going to be more science and less, I'm friends with an alien. But it didn't bug me. It was just not what I was expecting going into it, knowing how The Martian played out as it's one guy on a planet doing some science so he doesn't die. So I thought it was going to be a lot more of the guy doing science and not the guy befriending a rock.
Okay. Yeah, I did not have any expectations. I remember seeing like a trailer for it last year, and it was like one of those, I forget what movie I was seeing, but it was kind of a big deal, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I couldn't really tell what it was like about, so I was kind of like out of sight, out of mind, until my drummer was like, hey, you got to read this book. And I was like, okay. And then when I read the book, I'm like, oh, I am definitely seeing the movie. And that's why he wanted me to read the book, because he's like, yeah, I want to go see the movie with you, and I think you'd really enjoy the book. So yeah. Yeah, I was asking about like your expectations, or if you just, because I wondered if you were if it was like you were interested, or you're just kind of like you did it to be cool so we could do a podcast about it because I loved it so much. But so what did you, so I'm assuming you really, really liked the movie.
Yeah. This is one of those rare things where the internet was right. Like, the hype for this movie was big, and I was kind of surprised by that alone. And the fact that there's like no negative press about this. I haven't seen anybody post a negative review of this movie. And even the people that love the book are like, the movie's great too. Like, you are the prototypical example of someone who knows like everything about Project Hail Mary, and everybody's on board with it. And I think that alone is just, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. I'm
still trying to figure out exactly, and I'd love to get your take on this. What is it about this story that has everybody excited about it? There's always haters, except this story doesn't have them. It's very weird how, I won't say unifying, but overwhelmingly positive this has been received.
I mean, it's definitely the whole, Grace and Rocky relationship, which, by the way, I do have to say, I do not have a single clue why they gave away Rocky in a lot of the trailers. Like I didn't when I went to read the book, I had no idea there was an alien in it. So when that came up, I was like, holy shit. Like this just got awesome. And so when I was watching trailers and I saw like right off the rip, several of them had Rocky in it. Like I had told my wife, I think, when excuse me, as I'm burping, I know it's professional. But I had told her, because she said, yeah, I'll go see the movie with you. I said, okay. John Phillips, great to see you, man. He says, oh, good, you're still on. Project Hail Mary, great film. Yes, it is, man. And good to see you, bro. She said she was going to go see the movie. I purposely did not show her trailers because I wanted the whole Rocky thing to be a surprise. And so, I told her, like I said, there's a big plot twist in there that I don't want to give away. I'm surprised they gave it away in the trailers. So she didn't think it was as big of a deal as I did, but she did say that it was really cool going into it, not knowing that was on the table. Because she just thought it was, oh, hey, it's a space movie. We're trying to save Earth. So, okay, she likes sci-fi and stuff like that. She gets into that sort of thing. She liked The Martian, so that's what sold her on this. Kind of same deal as you. So yeah, I was really, really surprised at the fact that they gave away Rocky. I thought that was a bad decision.
Well, I thought the teaser trailer did just enough. Like there was indication that there was something on the other side of the glass. I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, so there's going to be an alien in this, and I thought that. Again, it was, it was all over the marketing. Like the guy who wrote The Martian wrote this too. So I was like, all right, I think I know what I'm in for story wise. So I think it's going to be mainly science. And then the big hurdle is not going to be the science in this one. The big hurdle is going to be how do these two totally foreign bodies communicate with each other?
Yeah.
Like I did not expect to walk in and he basically just builds a voice clone for this guy, uses Google Translate, for the galaxy, and instantly they've just got, conversations happening back and forth. I thought it was going to be crude communication at best. And how do we do hard science with such a limited vocabulary?
Yeah.
The story was not supposed to be, you really care about these two and they both might die at some point. I thought it was more like, everybody might die and we can't talk to each other. I thought it was going to be one of those things where like Grace has part of the solution, Rocky has part of the solution, but they can't figure out how to share their parts of the solution. That was like never the issue.
That would actually make for a pretty cool story, honestly. There's the fiance checking in. It's good to see you, Miranda. She says, I totally cried a couple times during the movie. Yeah, it gets emotional, man. And that brings us back to your question, like why do you think it's so universally well received? Well, excuse me. Again, the relationship between Grace and Rocky, I think, is huge because it goes from just being like some super nerdy, we got to save, the Earth type of thing, which, has happened before. It brings a human element into it. And I think, that's also why it's a good thing that they didn't do your idea, which is like, oh, they have a hard time communicating. In the book, the language thing is much more fleshed out. So like Rocky gets the hang of like sarcasm and stuff. And like he insults Grace here and there. He's like, humans are stupid and all this kind of stuff. And
see, that's what I would think is like they're the more advanced species. So if anyone's going to like figure out how to communicate, it would be Rocky deciphering human speech, not the other way around.
Yeah. No, and they did a great job with it in both the novel and the movie. I also think that it's like you mentioned earlier, like the science is believable, but also both the novel and especially the novel, because but in any case, both the book and the novel do a great job of really selling how dire the mission is. You know, like the stakes are very clearly absolutely enormous, and they flesh it out a lot more in the book. Like, for example, when they have to breed astrophage to power the Hail Mary, it's going kind of slow. So this guy comes up with a way to do it. It's like heat based, right? And his solution is to basically turn 1/3 of the Sahara Desert into a giant solar panel, which will basically like eradicate like the ecosystem and stuff. But it's the only way to create enough astrophage quickly enough to get this done. So, yeah, it's, you know, so they have that kind of stuff going on. You know, and again, like, you know, you can flesh out the characters a little better, but yeah, it's very clear, and it's and also in the book, and let me know if they did this in the movie or not, because I'm drawing a blank as to whether or not they did it. But Grace realizes in the novel that it's a suicide mission, that he's not going home. But and they do that in the book. But in the book, Rocky, when he finds out, because Grace holds off telling him that, it's like, you know, need to know.
Yeah, that was known early on, you know, before they even left Earth.
Yeah. And in the book, it's really cool because basically like Grace is trying to come to grips with it and everything, and he does. Well, then when he finally tells Rocky, Rocky's like, well, I got a shitload of astrophage, like way more than enough to get you home. So you're not going to die. Like, we're going to send you home. So that's part of it. And in the novel, it's really pretty cool because I wish I would have seen the movie a second time, but Grace has to make the decision when he finds out that the predator for astrophage got loose, and he finds out why it got loose. He has to make the decision to either go home, because he had started going home. So he has to make the decision he has enough astrophage to either get back to Earth and let Rocky die, because what happens is that the predator, they have to breed this thing to survive in, I believe, nitrogen atmospheres of a certain percentage. Well, what ended up happening when they bred it, the thing adapted to where it can escape xenonite, and they didn't know that.
Oh shit.
So when Grace, you know, he cleaned everything out, and so he leaves and go back to Earth, and Rocky's going back to Arid. Well, on the way back to Earth, he finds out that all of a sudden, like, some Taumiba, you know, the predator, is loose again. He's like, what the hell happened? And then he figures out, he does a series of experiments and goes, oh shit, they can get through xenonite, and Rocky's entire ship is xenonite.
That is in the movie.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, but they do a great job of him having to make the decision, because he's got enough astrophage to either go to Earth and save his own ass, or go and save Rocky's ass. So that was it. So the moral decision there was really cool. It's hard to describe, but at least out of the book, like, there's something. I hate, this is going to sound so stupid, but there's something warm.
Never stopped us before on this show. What's the problem now?
Right.
Come on now.
Yeah. But there's something very warm and welcoming about the movie, and, you know, the whole, like I said, the relationship really sells it. But there's you know, the stakes are dire, but you're so invested in these two characters that it really it plays beautifully off of the science nerd stuff. And I think that really resonates with people.
It is weird, isn't it? Like, the stakes of the entire mission are, like I said, basically the galaxy is at risk because this thing is going to kill stars, which will kill solar systems and so on. And yet the real crux of everything that we're hooked on is, do Grace and Rocky survive?
Yeah. 100%.
I think that's brilliant. There's some old quote about this. It's basically, it's always used to, like, bitch about Star Wars, for example. And and why they're saying like Andor hits harder than Rise of Skywalker is an example. Like, one person dies, it's a tragedy. 1 billion people die, it's a statistic. And it's kind of the thing like, oh my God, the entire planet's at risk. That we can't comprehend that. But if this dude, if Ryan Gosling's in danger, now we care.
Right?
He's too pretty to die.
Too pretty to die. I did like his hair in the movie. I was like, man, why wouldn't my hair do that when I had long hair? Son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I just think it's an interesting story, very well told. And again, it's believable. And also, I like I said earlier, the best description I heard about this movie and the book, more so the movie, is that it's like The Martian mixed with E.T. And yeah. I think that's a very apt, because The Martian that one's pretty nerdy. I mean, it's very good, but it's one guy, so you don't have any real like relationships at stake and all that kind of thing. Whereas this one kind of does have that. So, yeah, like I said, I thought that was just a very, very, very appropriate description, to say that. So, and I mean, if you're hitting on the ET vibes, you're definitely doing something right, because
oh yeah,
basically you're a heartless monster if you don't enjoy ET, or don't cry a little bit at ET. Like, God, that movie is still so hard to watch. I watch it, I just dread it going in, because I'm like, dude, this is gonna kill me. Because I remember when we saw it in the theater as kids, man, in 1983, and I was a mess. It was, oh my God, that was like my first theater experience of a movie that just decimated me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So of course, because this is a smash hit and The Martian was also successful, there's a mad scramble right now. This is actually, it's kind of like Tom Clancy, like Jack Ryan showed up in a bunch of stories, and sometimes it was the dude from The Office, and sometimes it was Harrison Ford, and sometimes it was Alex Baldwin. So
Alex Baldwin?
Sorry, Alec Baldwin. I knew that didn't sound right. Anyway,
I could never ever hear that name without thinking of Team America World Police. Eric Baldwin.
So this is it's funny because Andy Weir actually wrote another book in between The Martian in 2011 and Project Hail Mary in 2021, called, ironically enough, based on what's happening in real space science right now,
yeah.
Artemis.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a mad scramble right now. They're like, when is Artemis coming out? This guy's 2 for 2 on making great movies from great books. So where's the third one? Do you know anything about this book?
It's like, isn't it like a heist or something?
Yeah, I was actually just going to read the synopsis from Google, which of course is AI, so don't trust it. But yeah, it's a 2017 science fiction novel set on the first city on the moon, Artemis. It's a heist story following smuggler and porter Jasmine Jazz Bashara, who gets entangled in a conspiracy for control of the lunar city after taking on a seemingly simple crime job. The book is known for its blend of science, suspense, and humor, narrated from Jazz's first-person perspective. If that doesn't sound like completely on brand with the other 2 books, except for being a heist, like, I already can I pre-order tickets now? I want to go see this movie.
I have to admit, I'll probably read the book. I mean, it's, I have to get The Martian, so I'll probably read the other one.
You could just download the audiobook with a free trial from audible.com.
I could. So could everybody else. Look at this. Gail McLeish. Is Alex Baldwin the plural form of Alec?
Yes.
That is 1 Alec, 2 Alex. Nice. Oh my God. Yeah, I like this enough to where I'm going to read his other stuff. So that's cool. You know what I think is is the coolest thing for me about this whole thing is that, like, I have a new favorite book. Like I am such a huge fan of
Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I know.
Goblet of Fire is my jam in the Harry Potter series. I know it's not a popular opinion. No, Angels and Demons, the Dan Brown book, Robert Langdon. I love that book. But man, Project Hail Mary is up there, and the book is excellent. The audio book is read really, really well. The guy has like a very conversational tone, and I think it works perfectly. And they actually
got the same guy. The Martian was really good like that too.
I'll have to look it up because I know he just did a phenomenal job, and that you actually hear Rocky's voice, like the notes, which was cool. But then they basically, when Rocky's talking because it's the guy's voice, but they kind of digitize it in a way, so it's like who's talking when and everything, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, any final thoughts on this? Mine are just that I loved it. I would highly recommend it. And this is one of those times where I would highly recommend the book because if you like the movie, the book fleshes things out more, and it really gives an awesome kind of, again, there's more meat to the story in there, and it hits even harder. So I would highly recommend, even if you don't read, just do the audiobook. It's not too long. I want to say it's like 10 to 12 hours or something. So it's nothing crazy. It's not like some 25-hour Stephen King marathon. So
right.
So yeah. So final.
We're not cracking open we're not cracking open the Dark Tower series, is what you're talking about.
That is correct.
Yeah. Well, that was a year and a half of my life I'll never get back. Anyway,
I love the Dark Tower series. Do not get me started.
Dude, I got through them all. I would look, if you ever want to talk about them on the show, though, I'm gonna probably need about a year and a half to get through them again, so I can refresh my memory. Yeah. Good stuff. No, for this overall, I think I'm still trying to answer that question of how it is so universally praised. I love it, but I tend to not love everything that everyone else loves. So that's the most confusing thing for me, is just figuring out, like, what is it about this story and the way it's told, especially as a movie, that strikes a chord with everybody? Because people are way too diverse to agree on this much, especially because one of the things that's completely glossed over in the book is that it's an earth-wide coalition coming together to try to solve this problem, which, as we know, cynically, I'm sorry, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So the fact that they just gloss over the fact that all the nations of the world are working together as one. Okay, Star Trek.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what it is about this story that has just struck a chord with everybody, but boy, doesn't it feel good to actually be coming on here and talking about something that everybody loves instead of trying to defend it from all the people that are trying to drag it down.
Yeah.
Like, what a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. I was glad when I started seeing, like, I didn't do any spoiler reviews, even though I knew it, but I didn't want anything that was unique to the movie to be ruined for me. I was really glad when basically, like you said, everything was positive, because I was so hyped up to see this. And I was like, man, if this is going to be like The Long Walk was for me, I'm going to be so pissed. Like, that's what a letdown, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't.
That's right. Wasn't. That was the last. Was that the last book turned movie that we discussed on this show?
Running Man.
We have not discussed The Running Man.
Oh, we have not discussed The Running Man. Okay. Interesting.
No siree.
Interesting.
We might have done a Harry Potter episode since The Long Walk. I don't remember. But accepting the Harry Potter series, The Long Walk was definitely the last book turned movie that we discussed on here.
Yes.
And yeah, very different opinions on that one. So I'm glad we agree on this one at least.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is just amazing. It's great. And man, look, Miranda says, I love the love friendship element mixed in with the humor. Yeah, it's like the whole crux of it, So
yeah, and the topless scene didn't hurt either.
Nice. By the way, I do have to address one quick thing, and then I have two very quick reviews to give out before we go, but I want to address this comment from Kale. He says, yeah, Mom does not forgive that ending. He's talking about the ending of The Dark Tower. It has two endings, which I thought was brilliant. For those who don't know, you get to the end of the seventh book, almost to the end, and Stephen King literally writes, okay, You could stop here and it's a satisfying ending. Everything's good. Or you can keep reading to get to the ending I want, but you might not like it. And I thought it was absolutely fucking brilliant. So I don't want to give it away in case people are reading through it now, or they have any desire to read through the Dark Tower series, but I thought it was absolutely brilliant. What did you think? Are you one of the I know it's like very controversial, like people either love it or hate it. I loved it. What did you think?
I loved it for the sheer fact that it was like a choose your own adventure that way.
Yeah.
The video game I'm fascinated with this year and years previous is the follow-up to Hollow Knight, Silk Song. And both of those games famously have multiple endings. Like you can, if you don't do certain things in the game, then the story and the game ends at this one point. If you do other things, you can continue on and get more content and get a different ending. Mm-hmm. And I love that a book of all things did the same thing. Like, hey, the story ends here, or you can keep reading. It's up to you. What a crazy way to do it, right?
Yeah.
So just the sheer balls of it to do that. Like, I don't know which ending I like better because I can see why both would work, but to let the reader decide is books always hook people anyway, right? Because you have to like engage your imagination and flesh out the world for yourself. But when you can actually like be presented with like, okay, which version do you like better? You can choose this one, or you can choose this one. They're both okay, and it's whatever you want it to be.
I like the second one, like the actual final of the book, because it's so unique and completely unexpected. The quote unquote first ending is I hate to call it stock, but it's kind of what you would in a lot of ways expect. It's kind of like what you would expect to have happen, I guess. So the second one is just awesome. So I'll explain off air so I don't give it away. But
is that our Patreon exclusive content?
John
explains the Dark Tower.
Exactly. Right. So all right. So before we get out of here, I said I wanted to do two quick and we won't get into a discussion because we're going to do a season recap. So I will say the first two episodes of Maul Shadow Lord, kick ass. Loved it.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Excellent. And we're gonna talk about that obviously down the road. Probably have some guest hosts or hosts on to do it with us. Some of our other Star Wars nerd friends.
It's pretty obvious. We've got a podcast on May 6th, and that's 2 days after the series wraps, or the season, not the series. It's been renewed for season 2 already. In 2 shows' time, you know exactly what we're going to be talking about.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, maybe I can line people up then. Awesome. So that's excellent if you haven't checked it out yet. And another thing, it's been out for a minute, but I don't know if you had any interest in watching this, AJ, but on Netflix, they released that Steven Spielberg Dinosaurs series.
Haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, so it's Steven Spielberg, it's the history of the dinosaurs, but it's Steven Spielberg made it, and Morgan Freeman narrates it, and it is really, really good. Steph and I are going through it right now, and it is awesome. I would highly recommend it. There's a lot of stuff in there that I don't think I ever learned, and I was a pretty big dinosaur kid when I was growing up. So,
if Steven Spielberg's going to direct a thing about dinosaurs and they need a narrator, why didn't they get Jeff Goldblum? I mean, it's right there.
Yeah, that was probably be a little too, direct of a reference. Would be a little off-putting.
So these are dinosaurs, and they lived a long time ago. Life found a way.
Yeah, just put all the Jurassic Park-isms into his narration. That'd be amazing. So, all right, cool. So 2 shows from now, we will be doing our season recap of Maul Shadow Lord, and we'll figure something out for 2 weeks. The date is...
You forgot. You already forgot.
What are we doing?
Well, that's why I've been dropping hints like boulders about Harry Potter, because
We are
have
doing
been
that. Okay.
7 months since we discussed the Goblet of Fire. So now we're going to move on to book 5, The Order of the Phoenix, and that will be on April 22nd in 2 weeks' time.
So now I basically have to go. I will read. I own the book and the audiobook. So what I'll do is one of my speed reads, which is I will read the book when I can read the physical thing, and then I'll go to the audiobook where I left off in the book and kind of do it that way. So I'm getting through it a lot quicker. So that'll be good.
Hell yeah, man. I'm excited because you love Goblet of Fire as your favorite. Order of the Phoenix is my favorite.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, so I'm stoked to talk about this one. I will say, as was discussed earlier, the movies decline in quality because the books expand in length, and you could drive a school bus. I'm sorry. You could drive a thestral pulled carriage through the holes in the plot of the movie.
Well played. Well played. Yeah.
But I'm
don't know.
looking forward to talking about that. Yeah.
I still like them. So awesome. So yeah, as AJ mentioned, we'll be right back here on Wednesday, April 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern time, talking Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Excuse me. And guys, again, go see Project Hail Mary, read the book. They're both phenomenal. So definitely worth the hype, and lives up to any expectations you have for it. So outside of that, I got nothing. So we will see you in a couple weeks. As always, guys, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download, which you can choose Project Hail Mary with. So if you would like to get some Virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. If you would like to get some awesome customizable Nerf Herder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. And guys, if you are watching on YouTube and have not done so yet, either on our channel or on the channel of the Virtual Cantina Network, please click the like button, click the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. For example, April 22nd at 8 p.m. Eastern time, as we talk about Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Until next time, I am your host, JT. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579. Go watch Maul Shadow Lord. Go watch Daredevil Born Again, both on Disney Plus.
There you go. And thanks to everybody in the chat. Kale McLeish, Joseph Wren, Miranda, John Phillips. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.